Imagine standing in the appliance aisle or scrolling through an online store, looking for a simple solution to one of life's most basic needs, clean drinking water. Instead of clarity, you are instantly hit with a wall of confusing acronyms. RO, UV, UF, TDS, copper filters, alkaline boosters, and 10-stage purification systems. Every brand claims their technology is the absolute best, and the price tags vary wildly from pocket-friendly to incredibly expensive. It is easy to fall into the trap of thinking that more acronyms and a higher price tag automatically means safer water for your family. But buying a water purifier isn't about finding the most powerful machine on the market. It is about matching the specific technology to the exact quality of water entering your home. If you choose the wrong system, you might end up wasting thousands of liters of water every month, stripping away essential healthy minerals, or worse, failing to eliminate dangerous contaminants. Today, we are going to strip away the marketing jargon and look at the actual science behind the three major water purification technologies: reverse osmosis, ultraviolet, and ultrafiltration. By the end of this guide, you will know exactly how they work, how they differ, and precisely which one you need for your home. Before we look at the machines, we have to look at the water. Contaminants in water generally fall into two distinct categories: biological impurities and dissolved chemical impurities. Biological impurities include living organisms like bacteria, viruses, cysts, and parasites. These are the culprits behind immediate waterborne diseases like cholera, dysentery, and typhoid. Dissolved chemical impurities, on the other hand, are invisible substances completely dissolved in the water at a molecular level. This includes heavy metals like lead, arsenic, and mercury, chemical runoff from agriculture like pesticides, and common salts like calcium, magnesium, and sodium. To measure these dissolved solids, we use a metric called TDS, which stands for Total Dissolved Solids. Measured in parts per million, or ppm, TDS tells you how much dissolved matter exists in your water. If your tap water has a high TDS, it usually tastes salty, brackish, or hard, and it leaves white scales on your plumbing fixtures. If it has a low TDS, the water is naturally soft. Understanding your water's TDS is the single most important factor in choosing a purifier. Let us start with the most famous and dominant technology on the market: reverse osmosis, or RO. To understand reverse osmosis, it helps to understand regular osmosis first. In nature, if you separate pure water from salty water with a semi-permeable membrane, the pure water will naturally flow toward the salty side to create a balance. Reverse osmosis does exactly what the name says. It reverses this natural process. An RO purifier uses a high-pressure electric pump to force water against its natural inclination, pushing it through a semi-permeable membrane with incredibly microscopic pores. To give you an idea of how small these pores are, they measure roughly 0.001 microns. For comparison, a single strand of human hair is about 50 microns wide. Because these pores are so microscopic, absolutely nothing can pass through them except pure water molecules. Living bacteria, heavy metals, pesticides, and dissolved salts are all physically blocked and left behind. This makes ERO the ultimate purification heavyweight. It does not care what is in your water. It simply strips everything away, leaving you with pure, soft water. However, because RO is so powerful, it comes with three major compromises that every buyer must consider. First, it creates significant water wastage. Because the membrane separates pure water from contaminants, the rejected pollutants have to be flushed away continuously to keep the membrane from clogging. For every single liter of pure drinking water an RO system produces, it can reject up to 2 to 3 liters of wastewater. If you live in an area with water scarcity, this is a massive environmental and practical concern. Second, RO requires electricity and high water pressure to function. The pump needs power to create the immense force required to push water through those tiny pores. If your home suffers from frequent power cuts or low water pressure, a standalone RO system will not function without additional booster pumps or power backups. Third, RO is completely indiscriminate. It removes harmful heavy metals, but it also strips away healthy, naturally occurring minerals like calcium and magnesium. This can leave the water tasting flat or slightly acidic. To counter this, many modern RO purifiers include a TDS controller or an alkaline mineral cartridge to reintroduce these healthy minerals back into the water after purification. Next up is ultraviolet, or UV purification. This technology works on an entirely different scientific principle. While RO uses physical filtration to trap contaminants, UV uses radiation to neutralize them. Inside a UV purifier, water flows through a chamber containing a specialized lamp that emits ultraviolet light. When water passes through this chamber, the UV light penetrates the cells of biological contaminants like bacteria, viruses, and protozoa. The radiation directly disrupts their DNA, rendering them completely sterile. Because they can no longer reproduce, they become entirely harmless and cannot cause infection. The greatest advantage of a UV purifier is its speed and efficiency. It sanitizes water instantly as it flows past the lamp, meaning it does not require a storage tank to keep up with demand. Furthermore, UV purification causes zero water wastage. Every single drop of water that enters a UV chamber comes out as safe drinking water. It also leaves the natural minerals completely untouched, preserving the original taste of your water. But the vital thing to remember is that UV is strictly a sanitizer, not a filter. It alters the DNA of living organisms, but it does absolutely nothing to physical or chemical impurities. If your water contains mud, sand, rust, heavy metals, or high levels of dissolved salts, a UV light will not remove them. They will pass right through the chamber completely unaffected. Additionally, if the incoming water is muddy or cloudy, a phenomenon known as shadowing occurs. Suspended dirt particles can physically shield bacteria from the UV light, allowing them to pass through alive. Because of this, UV purifiers are always paired with pre-filters, like sediment filters, and activated carbon filters to clear the water before it hits the light. Like RO, UV requires a constant electricity supply to power the ultraviolet lamp. Our third technology is ultrafiltration, or UF. You can think of UF as a middle ground between a basic sediment filter and a heavy-duty RO membrane. A UF purifier uses hollow fiber membranes that look like tiny, porous straws. The pore size of a UF membrane is around 0.01 microns. While this is larger than an RO pore, it is still small enough to physically block suspended solids, dust, rust, and organic matter. Crucially, it is also small enough to trap larger biological pathogens like bacteria and cysts. The biggest superpower of UF technology is that it operates completely without electricity. Because the pores are slightly larger than RO, regular tap pressure or simple gravity is more than enough to push water through the membrane. This makes UF purifiers incredibly reliable, cost-effective, and functional even during total power outages. Similar to UV, a UF membrane does not waste any water during the purification process. It also leaves dissolved minerals completely intact, ensuring your water retains its natural composition and taste. However, the limitation of UF lies in its inability to handle dissolved solids. Because the pores are 0.01 microns, dissolved chemical molecules, heavy metals, and salts easily pass through. If you put hard, salty water into a UF filter, it will come out tasting exactly as hard and salty as it did going in. It is also less effective against the smallest viruses, which can sometimes slip through the pores if not paired with other purification stages. Now that you understand the science behind RO, UV, and UF, how do you decide which one to buy? The decision comes down to a simple, step-by-step evaluation of your home's water supply. Step 1. Test your TDS. The very first thing you should do is purchase a cheap digital TDS meter online or request a water test from a local expert. Collect a sample of the raw tap water entering your home and check the reading. If your TDS is below 300 ppm, your water is naturally soft. It does not contain excess salts or heavy metals. Buying an RO purifier in this scenario is a mistake. It will unnecessarily waste water and strip away the healthy minerals you already have. Instead, you need a UV plus UF combination system to protect you from biological pathogens and mud while keeping your minerals intact. If your TDS is between 300 and 500 ppm, your water is in a transitional zone. It might taste slightly heavy, but it is generally safe regarding mineral content. A high-quality UV plus UF system or an RO system with a highly precise TDS controller will work well here. If your TDS is above 500 ppm or up to 2000 ppm, your water is officially hard and brackish. It likely comes from an underground borehole or a private water tanker. This water will taste salty and cause scaling. In this scenario, an RO purifier is mandatory. No amount of UV or UF filtration can lower the TDS or remove the heavy metals. Step 2. Identify the source and contamination risk. Where does your water come from? Municipal tap water supplied by city corporations is usually treated at a central plant. By the time it reaches your home, its main risks are secondary contamination from rusty pipelines or broken joints, leading to mud and bacteria. For this municipal water, a UV or UF system is ideal. However, if your water comes from underground wells, boreholes, or tankers, it travels through rock formations, dissolving minerals and potentially absorbing industrial or agricultural runoff. For this source, you almost always need the heavy-duty protection of an RO system. Step 3. Check your infrastructure. Finally, consider your home's daily reality. Do you experience constant power cuts? If yes, a storage-based UF purifier or an RO system with a massive storage tank is necessary. Do you have low water pressure? If you choose an RO or UV system, you will need to install an external booster pump to make them work. At the end of the day, there is no single best water purifier. There is only the right purifier for your specific water type. Do not let clever marketing convince you to buy a complex, expensive machine that your home does not actually require. Start by testing your water's TDS. If it is low, protect yourself from microbes with a combination of UV and UF, keeping your water natural, tasty, and eco-friendly. If your TDS is high, invest in a reliable RO system. Ensure it has a mineral modulator to keep the water healthy, and try to find creative ways to recycle the wastewater for cleaning or gardening. By understanding the simple science of water purification, you can protect your family's health, save money on unnecessary maintenance, and make a smart, informed investment for your home. I am Saul, and I will see you in the next deep dive.